It was a Saturday morning, and I got a call from a friend of mine in the State Department. Tony, he says they're finally going to let her go as a result of the summit meeting. I was just beside myself. I didn't know what to do first. You know, I had no idea what to do first.
As a gesture of goodwill, Gorbachev selected 8 Russians who would be allowed to join their spouses in the United States. One of the 8 was Tatyana Bartholomew. That week, Tony saw his wife for the first time in over a year on American television, when an ABC News crew interviewed her in her Moscow apartment.
I found out about my release from the ABC crew, which is kind of like weird. I was just happy. I cried, you know, cried from happiness, maybe for the first time. These were the tears of happiness.
It all turned around so suddenly. One day there was no hope that they would ever see each other again. The next thing they knew, they were walking side by side in the Baltimore, Maryland airport, about to start their life together as husband and wife. Mr. and Mrs. Tony Bartholomew, your typical happy American couple, which is all they ever really wanted to be.
For Tony and Tatyana, love knew no boundaries. Their fate decided in the halls of the White House and in the corridors of the Kremlin. I guess it's true what they say. Love conquers all.
Looking for love in all the wrong places. That's next on Love with a Twist.
When you know how to read, life can be a whole lot more rewarding. To find out about a reading program in your community, call this number.
Wednesday, look who's back.
Julie, Costello, this is,
Growing Pains. Then at a special time,
your protector.
Doogie teaches sex ed.
Will you guys jump out of an airplane without a parachute?
Doogie Howser, MD, after Growing Pains, Wednesday.
Young couples in love, each with their own special story. But none of them rival the amazing story of Sherry Netter and Jim Graham. Their story is so unbelievable that you're probably going to say, oh, come on, they made that up. But it really happened. It started when Sherry went to a dating service looking for Mr. Right, and she found him. Only he was so right, he was wrong.
The town Sherry Netter lived in did not have a lot of eligible men to choose from. So the local dating service seemed like a good place for Sherry to go.
I decided to go ahead and join. And you had 3 ways of going in this date connection. It was computer dating, video dating, or a date book. And I said, well, let's go all 3 ways. I had to get a man one way or the other, and you know, 3 chances better than 1, so.
The following week, Jim Graham, who lived in a nearby town, signed up at the same dating service.
I looked through the book, and that's when I discovered Sherry. She liked to sing, she liked to travel. Basically, everything that she liked to do, I liked to do.
He called me and wanted to know if we wanted to meet. And I understand at this dating facility, you have to meet in a public place for the first time.
So Jim invited her to dinner at a local McDonald's.
I figured he was going to, you know, buy a Big Mac or one of the chicken sandwiches, or maybe even the, you know, the highest price on the, you know, the menu. But oh no, small hamburger and a small fry and a small Coke.
You know, I'm a very budget-minded person when it comes to dating.
But that was okay with Sherry. She and Jim hit it off great. They both loved to go dancing, and they went nearly every weekend.
Let's dance.
Jim Graham, we have been dancing all night long.
Come on, Sherry.
All right.
Their relationship blossomed, and over the months, Sherry and Jim drew closer and closer. They were so much alike. They had similar interests, similar goals, even similar backgrounds.
We had discussed that we both were adopted, And I never met anyone that was adopted too, so we discussed that.
You know who your parents are. I just hope you appreciate it.
Well, I was real glad when I found my real parents, that's for sure.
Your brothers are really nice. I just don't know what I might
They
find.
come from millionaires. You could be worth a fortune.
Sure.
Jim had a point. You never know what might turn up. So Sherry hired a private investigator to help track down her biological family. She realized it was a long shot.
Well, one afternoon I was sitting at home and I had not talked to my investigator for about 4 or 5 months, probably 6 months at the most. And he called me up and he said, Jerry, he said, I've got some information for you. And I says, oh, finally? And he said, yeah, and I thought it was just going to be little tidbits like it had been. He said, I found some of your family. He said, you have brothers and a sister.
The detective filled her in on the news she had waited so long to hear. But it was not at all what she expected.
What he said absolutely floored me. I was in a daze. Understand, I was just shocked. I said, what am I going to do?
Moments later, she received another phone call. This time it was Jim.
I can't talk right now. I don't know. Sometime later, okay? No, Jim, please don't. I can't see you anymore. No, I don't know what to do.
And I'm the type of person that when somebody tells me they can't do something, I like to find out why. And I'm pretty persistent, so naturally I got in my van and I drove to where she was at. I asked her for about 30 minutes and finally, through all the tears, she said,
Jim, oh, you're my brother.
It's impossible. The detective was wrong. I'm not your brother. I'm your boyfriend, Sherry.
No, not anymore.
Jim was in a state of shock. Sherry was devastated. Relatively speaking, they had a bit of a problem. But as they sat there adjusting to this startling revelation, they realized they still had a lifetime to share. Maybe not as man and wife, but as brother and sister.
Some things had to change, of course, but they could still enjoy their close friendship, and they could still enjoy wonderful times together.
What's the matter, Jim?
I just want to ask you to dance. Is that all right?
Well, brothers and sisters can dance.
Yeah, I guess I can.
Jim became Sherry's loving brother and did what all good brothers do for their sisters. He fixed her up with his best friend, Paul. And you guessed it, Sherry and Paul are now happily married. As for Jim, well, he's back at the dating service.
I might tell all the women out there, single women, that I'm free to date once again. So, but if you're adopted, I might ought to check your credentials before we start dating. Make sure we're not related.
Next, William Shatner, Leonard Nimoy, and back from the future, Christopher Lloyd. Star Trek 3, next. Never in his wildest dreams did he imagine he'd become the most idolized singer in the world. Elvis, Tuesday, February 6th.
We meet someone, we fall in love, we live happily ever after. Or at least that's the way it's supposed to happen. But as you've seen tonight, sometimes fate steps in and turns your life around. And the road from that first glance to happily ever after can lead to struggle, adventure, triumph. All the elements of love with a twist. Good night.
This is Charles Gibson. This week, an array of stars. Denzel Washington, Bob Hoskins, John Goodman, Bette Midler, and Jessica Lange. Plus an interview with Vice President Dan Quayle on Good Morning America.
You're invited to Suzanne Summers' romantic Adobe Hideaway Monday on The Home Show and meet a woman whose life was saved by watching The Home Show. This is Gary Collins. Join us.
Now stay tuned for the ABC Sunday Night Movie. Next. Some health claims you read on food labels are highly misleading, and the government may doom a program to correct it. Watch ABC's World News Tonight with Peter Jennings this week.
An earthquake in South Dakota. The story tonight at 10.
Tonight.
Fire, Mr. Scott.
The Enterprise returns to an alien planet to rescue Spock.
Seize the secret of this weapon.
William Shatner, Leonard Nimoy, and back from the future, Christopher Lloyd.
Destruct sequence 1.
It's the final battle of the Starship Enterprise. Star Trek 3, The Search for Spock. Next. Tonight.
Fire, Mr. Scott.
The Enterprise returns to an alien planet to rescue Spock.
Seize the secret of this weapon.
William Shatner, Leonard Nimoy, and back from the future, Christopher Lloyd.
Destruct sequence 1.
It's the final battle of the Starship Enterprise. Star Trek 3, The Search for Spock. Next. Monday.
Dolphin went double red.
Will MacGyver find a missing agent before his mission's cut short?
It's a lousy way to die.
There. Heather Locklear, Suzanne Summers, and Deborah Adair cash in on love.
How to marry a millionaire.
Bingo!
Rich man, single women, Monday. Star Trek 3, The Search for Spock, will continue in a moment. Tuesday.
A bunch of suburban matrons. There's not a serious sports team make.
Excuse me.
Let the games begin.
What do you think of my team?
They look a little raw.
How raw?
Who's the boss? Followed by the Wonder Years Tuesday.
And I'm going to tell you, any grown man or woman who is healthy should go out and get a job and stop being a damn geek.
My son puts on a uniform every day and sticks his neck out for punks like you.
Change our rules in the United States. Stand up for our country. If you're caught stealing, cut off the hand. If you're caught raping, castrate them.
Donahue. One word says it all.
Monday on KSFY.
Super Bowl Madness, South Dakota style, tonight at 10.
We now continue with tonight's movie. Tuesday.
Doggone daughter's in Wisconsin defecting to another family.
Why is it bothering you so much?
I got people in America's Dairyland maybe brainwashing my daughter.
They're her in-laws.
Oh, fine. Join the cult.
Coach, following Roseanne Tuesday.
The test was positive. You are pregnant.
I'll marry you.
You can't just get rid of it. I'm not. I'm making a decision. If you kill this baby,
Through the mirror.
that will always be stuck to you.
Golden Globe winner, China Beach, Wednesday.
Wednesday, look who's back.
Julie, Costello, this is,
Growing pains. Then at a special time,
your protector.
Doogie teaches sex ed.
Will you guys jump out of an airplane without a parachute?
Doogie Howser, MD, after Growing Pains, Wednesday.
Star Trek 3, The Search for Spock, will continue in a moment.
This week, Ron Reagan's greatest adventure, 5 days on a deserted island. Will he survive? Also John Goodman and Bette Midler on Good Morning America.
An ABC News brief. Now from Washington, Jack Smith.
Good evening. In East Germany tonight, a drastic retreat by the communist leadership. After tense negotiations with opposition groups, communist leaders announced they'll share power with the opposition and move free elections up to March 18th. In Bucharest, opposition protesters demanded the ouster of Romania's 5-week-old provisional government and fought with government supporters. And in New Orleans, the most one-sided Super Bowl in history, Joe Montana's record 5 touchdown passes brought the San Francisco 49ers their 4th Super Bowl trophy and humiliated the Denver Broncos 55-10. More later on the Weekend Report.
gotta do me a favor. Don't tell Carl that Cheers is on 5 times a week. I mean, that's 5 times more Diane than she's used to. Oh, I can hear her now. Yelling those pet names for Diane. Bleach bag, pencil neck, the peroxide poster child. Then she'll kick me in the shins and scream, that's 5 episodes of The Young and the Chestless. So please, when Carl is around, just forget that Cheers is on 5 times a week. My shins and I thank you.
Monday on KSFY.
Super Bowl Madness, South Dakota style, tonight at 10.
We now continue with tonight's movie. In 2 weeks.
He's legally dead. We can do pretty much what we want to.
Meet the newest soldier in the fight against crime.
This guy's really good.
He's not a guy, he's a machine. Murphy, it's you.
Go get him, boy. What man? What machine?
Why me?
All Cuff. The future of law enforcement is here.
Your move, creep.
RoboCop in 2 weeks. Parental discretion advised. It's Sammy Davis Jr.'s 60th anniversary celebration, and it's gonna blow you away.
And we are swinging.
Eddie Murphy hosts Michael Jackson, Whitney Houston, Tony Danza, Ella Fitzgerald, Clint Eastwood, Richard Pryor, Shirley MacLaine, Bob Hope.
You can make it out to Irvin Magic Johnson,
Bill Cosby, and more. The year's biggest night of entertainment is happening 1 week from tonight on ABC. Star Trek 3, The Search for Spock, will continue in a moment.
Some health claims you read on food labels are highly misleading, and the government may doom a program to correct it. Watch ABC's World News Tonight with Peter Jennings this week.
This is an Eyewitness News Update.
The rumbles of an earthquake.
And the roars of a Super Bowl. Good evening, everyone. I'm Kevin Steincross.
And I'm Mike Mansour. Coming up on Eyewitness News tonight, an earthquake in South Dakota. It happened.
And by the looks and sounds of things, you would think the Super Bowl is being played in South Dakota. Watch and listen.
Well, our forecast isn't as exciting as the Super Bowl, but Phil says we like it.
And Dan will have the day's sporting events.
There's more reason to watch Eyewitness News tonight.
You're watching KSFY.
We now continue with tonight's movie. What you had to do. What you always do. Turn death into a fighting chance to live.